Well, a very good morning to you, Des, and to the viewers. And yes, it has been a stop-start affair since last week. We are hoping, as the media, I can tell you that much, that our application that we brought last week to have the proceedings taken live will be heard by Judge Jayed Paulse. She's expected to give her verdict or judgment on that matter, on the application brought by the SABC as well as other broadcast media houses. But yes, it has been a stop-start affair. The first witness taking the stand last week, that witness, Umbuso Ngobo. Now, you would know, if you have been covering these, the proceedings and the trial, that he is the head of the eThekwini's city's investigative unit, and he told the court last week that the documentation and why we are here today is that criminal charges, that documentation was handed over to the investigative unit. At the reception, he got that investigation, that document, and he issued a investigation into that document within 24 hours. Now, why the defense is trying to poke holes into this matter is the fact that he also told the court that the investigative unit at the eThekwini's investigative department, they have about 70 cases that are in backlog, and he asked the witness, why is it that they put this particular investigative at the front? So why would they look into this matter before handling any other of the cases? So that's what the defense is trying to poke holes into the matter. They're calling it a witch hunt. They want to pin something on the former mayor Zandile Gumede as well as the 21 others, those being councillors as well as businessmen and women within the metro, colluding and saying that, you know, these allegations that have been put forward to the mayor are not substantiated, that there is no evidence that pins the former mayor to this. I just want to bring in our legal expert, Malusi Xulu, just to break it down for us. Malusi, it has been a stop-start affair. We are expecting Judge Jayed Paulse to also grant permission to the media to take these proceedings live, but also that internal report will be handed over to the defense from the state as well as the witness who is going to furnish this report, this court with the report. Do you see that happening at all?
I think for today, we're expecting that report to be there, but I was expecting that the report would have been given to the defense last week on Friday. So today, we haven't heard anything, but we will hear in court whether they've got the report or not. But here's the other challenge with the report, is that if the report is a lengthy report, they might need time to read it, they might need time to peruse it, so we don't know whether they will say can the matter stand down for them to read it if they haven't obtained it as yet. So we'll see in court if that is going to be done.
I think another question that many are asking is why this documentation, this forensic report, was not handed over to the defense from the onset. Surely that should be an Exhibit A, evidence within the court procedure?
Yes. What normally happens is when the investigation has been finalized for trial purposes, all relevant documents are handed over to the defense. Now, this internal report that was done by the CIIU was the report that gave rise to a forensic investigation. So it kind of builds the case up and starts the investigation. So it makes sense if they would have obtained this internal report within the other documents last year in August. Then today we wouldn't have been starting the case, then stopping for another report, because one wonders now, are there any other outstanding documents? And then this case will take another 4 to 5 years because there are a lot of documents. And I just want to explain to the viewer at home that I believe that most of this case will rely on documentary evidence. And as you heard last week, Advocate Matontela is ready to object to a number of documents. So the document part is very crucial for this case as it's starting now. As you can see, that internal reports, the defense is waiting for it, and they want to challenge each and every aspect of documents in this case, and starting with the internal reports.
Now, the witness is the head of the CIIU, and he's asked the judge not to have the proceedings televised, especially his testimony. But being such a high figure within the metro and having this case being such an important one, surely there's going to be a decision taken today.
Look, as much as I did not hear the reason why the judge allowed his request to be done, but I suppose that there's also a fear about his life, possibly, that if he's shown, already his name is out there, but his face, no one has seen his face. Obviously, some people know him, so maybe he just doesn't want his face to be shown out. So sometimes when there's a request at court, the defense will be asked, or the state will be asked, do you want us to show your witness or the accused? And if the accused or the witness says, no, I do not want my face to be shown, sometimes that request is granted, So I suppose that was the situation with him. But it would have been a very good thing for the public to hear the case, and see his face, so that they can understand what's happening in the case. But he also has a right, if he's requested, that can he not be seen on the video, as he says was done last week.
Mr. Xulu, I want to go back to the fact that he is the head of the CIIU, and he said that, he works with 70 investigators within his unit looking at some of the cases that have been brought by normal individuals, some employees of the Metro who are aggrieved by certain things or corruption or fraud that they bring forward to this particular unit. Now, the defense says that, out of all the cases that they have looked into, or rather all the backlog that they have, they process this investigation within 24 hours. Do you perhaps feel, or do you perhaps think that this was done because of the stature of former Mayor Zandile Gumede, that she was a high-profile individual at the time?
I think so. I think they looked at the allegations, strong allegations. They looked at the person that is alleged to be heading the enterprise, so to speak, and then they might have felt that they need to start with the investigation as soon as possible. But the other side of the coin, one might say it's possibly because she might be in another faction, but that's a political argument as well, so one never knows. But I suppose they might want to use that maybe they are just victimizing the former mayor at that time to make sure that she's taken out. But that's a political argument. What matters right now, as we're here, is the evidence that will be brought and whether it's strong enough to convict all of the 22 accused.
Thank you so much for your time. Always lovely speaking to you. That was Nomhle Ngubane, legal expert and lawyer, just talking to us about the Zandile Gumede trial, as one as 21 other accused. We are expecting this to start promptly at 10 o'clock. Also told that the witness will resume under his testimony. He will be cross-examined once again, and we're also expecting that forensic internal reports to be furnished to this court as well as to the defense, so that they can unpack it. As Mr. Xulu said there, this possibly could also be prolonging the proceedings, but we'll keep you abreast with all of that information, Desiree, as we watch this very closely and bring you the latest on SABC News. It's back to you in studio.